I was mobilized and came back to the front line. I believe this is a crucial moment to defend my country.
World leaders of NATO have urged Moscow to pull back its forces. Most of these houses were destroyed in fighting in 2015. Around 1 million people live in a 10-kilometer wide contact zone that stretches on both sides across the front line. Oksana says she fled with her son Zhenya from separatist-controlled areas 2 years ago.
I have lived here since 2019. I used to live in Orlivka, but I had to flee because of my political views. It has been quiet these last 2 days, but this is the second night in a row my son wakes in the middle of the night screaming.
There is similar devastation in pro-Russia separatist-controlled areas.
They have been shooting recently. Everyone waits, but nobody knows how the negotiations will end.
The leaders of Ukraine, Russia, Germany and France, the so-called need all out prevail to find a political solution to the conflict. Ukraine refuses Russia's demand that it talk directly to pro-Moscow separatist leaders. Russia refuses to withdraw Crimea, which it occupied in 2014. Analysts say political deadlock remain.
The breakdown in the current ceasefire was fairly predictable as the sides worked to negotiate in good faith and stopped negotiating in good faith, and then probably around October they didn't reach the point where they were, instead of trying to find common ground, they were deliberately moving forward proposals or issues with the other side that they could be non-start. Once that starts to happen, then you know that the breakdown of the ceasefire is only it's only a matter of time.
Russia calls it a military exercise. Ukraine says it is a dangerous provocation. After 7 years of failed peace negotiations, the UN says almost 3.5 million people are in urgent need of humanitarian assistance and protection in eastern Ukraine. John Stone, Al Jazeera.
Let me ask you a question that you were on about.
Blocks foreign warships from entering Black Sea amid Ukraine war fears. Vladimir Putin has blocked foreign warships from entering the Black Sea as Russia and Ukraine inch closer to war. The Russian president ordered the closure of part of the Kerch Strait after 2 U.S. warships were set to be deployed in the Black Sea. U.S. President Joe Biden has called off the mission to avoid escalating tensions between Russia and Ukraine. Russia's blockade of the Kerch Strait was announced by the Ukrainian Foreign Ministry. All foreign warships will be unable to carry out military exercises in the region from next week until October. The ministry blasted the closure in a statement, writing, "Such actions by the Russian Federation are another attempt to violate the norms and principles of international law to usurp the sovereign rights of Ukraine as a coastal state, as Ukraine has the right to regulate navigation in these areas of the Black Sea." They also said they view the closure as a gross violation of the right to freedom of navigation and said Russia must not obstruct or impede transit. Also in the statement, Ukraine's ministry pointed out the closure of the Kerch Strait came against the background of the ongoing buildup of its military presence along the border with Ukraine on land. They added, Russia has intensified the escalation at sea. It is transferring warships from the Caspian Sea and strengthening its military capabilities in the Azov Black Sea region. Despite the absence of any legal grounds, it has also decided to close this water area for warships of other states, particularly Ukraine. It comes as U.S. officials canceled a planned freedom of navigation exercise in the Black Sea shortly before Russia closed the strait.
Blocks foreign warships from entering the Black Sea amid Ukraine war fears. Vladimir Putin has blocked foreign warships from entering the Black Sea as Russia and Ukraine inches closer to war. The Russian president ordered the closure of the part of the Kerch Strait
Shalom. Give all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahshua Bashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles for the edification and knowledge. Call Hallelujah Yahweh Bashem Yahshua Bashem Rakakadash. Give all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahshua Bashem Rakakadash. I was talking about Ukraine's fears over Russian troop buildup, and also Russia blocks battleships to go into the current straits into the Black Sea area. Pretty much, Russia is pretty much doing a tactical intimidation move on them because they're in a position of power and they can. So, I want to go to Ezekiel 38. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face on Gog, in the land of Magog. And the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal prophesied against him. So it's Russia. And say, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I am against, O God, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thy army horses and horsemen, and all them clothed with all sorts of armor. Horses represents like horse powers, you know what I mean? So horses and powers, armies and powers. Even a great company with bucklers and shields, and all of them handling swords, man. So they prepare and building for war, man. Their armament, military armament, they're pretty much their military paraphernalia, man. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya. Persia is Iran. Ethiopia and Libya are the African nations. With them, all of them with shields and helmets, man, because they're going to join with them. They're going to band with them. Gomar and all his bands, the house of Togomar, which is Turkey, and the north quarters and all his bands and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled into thee, and be thou a guard unto them, man. So pretty much Magog and Gog, Russia and his allies, man. They're going to be a band to Russia, you know what I mean? In many days thou shalt be visited in the latter years, and thou shalt come in the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountain of Israel, which have been always wasted, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. So that's 38, talking about Magog, all these nations, Magog, Russia and its allies, U.S. and its allies, Israel. So these nations are building tensions, man. They're building tensions upon one another. And for example, Russia and Ukraine, man. Russia using intimidational tactics, bullying, and because they're powerful and they can do it. And the opportunity is there for them to do it, you know what I mean? So so this is going to draw tensions and ultimately lead to war, you know what I mean? And U.S. and other nations have to get involved, so it's going to escalate, you know. That's why they're backing off to reposition and position themselves for something else. So this was something short relating to that. To those two videos. The water for listening, give all praise to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahshua, Bashem, Rakakadash. The water shower, thanks.